last year was the aberration, right? Like this year, he's going to prove that that's not the quarterback. Dak will prove this year that's not the quarterback I've ever been, and that's not the quarterback I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, that's how he's been. And look, Randy, I did a tape, for Get Up at the end of the season last year where, like, some of the interceptions, it's like there's a story to that isn't all about, the quarterback making a horrible decision and a bad read. Like, does that happen to all quarterbacks? Yes. But, like, sometimes it comes in bunches. A couple of years ago, Patrick Mahomes was kind of going through a turnover phase, and they needed to get that under control. Josh Allen turned the ball over a bunch in the red zone. It was, people were scratching their heads. It happens to all quarterbacks at some point. And look, the issue ends up being is like, all right, are we coaching this? Is the guy making, poor decisions? Is he not seeing it? I just don't think that's the case for Dak. And I think ultimately we'll see him play, kind of come back to the mean, if you will, which I believe is what Jerry is saying.
Me too. I can only say I believe it's what he's saying, because I don't know that any of us can speak with certainty to what he's saying, but that sounds right to me. Are we buying, meanwhile, Diana, that we are going to see a scaled-down passing attack this year in Dallas?
This Texas Coast offense that Mike McCarthy's been calling it, and the players been calling it, right? They're looking to run the ball more, and I don't think that's because they're frightened that Dak can't protect the ball. This is just what Mike McCarthy believes is going to be the best in favor of this Dallas Cowboys team. But now he's the play caller, right? So things have changed. And you hear all the time talking to head coaches how difficult it is to do that as well as the responsibilities of a head coach. Look, he had some time management issues that we've seen. He's had some trouble with that over the years. I think we've all seen that on display. So how are they going to fix that? How is he going to control that? I think there's a lot of issues that come with him stepping into this play caller role. But how he's going to get the best out of Dak, that continues to be the question that I have going into the season.
No, I think we all do. I mean, Harry, I know that you've been looking at a lot of numbers from the past that suggest that I don't feel like you're buying that they're going to suddenly be a 3 yards in a cloud of dust kind of offense either.
Well, first, where's their bell cow back, right? They don't have one on the roster. Is it going to be running back by committee with Tony Pollard, Malik Davis, and Ronald Jones, and they drafted Deuce Vaughn?
Right.
But when I look at 2015, 16, 17, and 18 of Mike McCarthy in Green Bay calling plays, he had no running back that had over 800 yards from a rushing standpoint. So is he going to revert back to his old self, or is he a changed play caller? Because right now, I just don't see how they're going to, head first focus on the run game when that's not his MO, or nor do you have the bell cow running back to do so. Ezekiel Elliott is not there anymore.
Yeah, and you have a CeeDee Lamb, who is a extraordinary playmaker. You're going to want to make use of that, and it's going to be tempting, to your point of, he's not going to want to shy away from a player like that. That's why I'm interested to see how this.
And Brandon Cooks, you have somebody now that can take the top off the defense and be a deep threat.
That's right. They have the receivers, and do they really have the runners to do it? I mean, Ryan Clark made what I thought was a great analogy earlier this week. You want to run a power offense, and he said, using Tony Pollard that way would be like bringing a Ferrari to a demolition derby. I'm not sure they have the pieces to run the kind of offense we're hearing about.
Yeah, when you look at his frame, he's not a Ezekiel Elliott replacement. I would say this, though, and as we talk about, like, hey, they weren't running the football enough or effectively, and Mike McCarthy's going to switch to that. I think that is a made-up excuse of why Kellen Moore is not there, to basically just put it out there like that. Here's the deal. They rushed for 24 touchdowns last year, second in the NFL to only the Philadelphia Eagles. They had 17 rushes of over 20 yards last year, which was top 7 in the league. This idea that they weren't running the football just isn't fact. Like, the reality is they were balanced and really good on offense. Mike McCarthy just wanted control of it. So I don't think it's gonna, all of a sudden, we're gonna see this massive change in terms of run-pass ratio in Dallas. And because quite honestly, it was a healthy balance under Kellen Moore.
So, Tim Hasselbeck, are we buying the idea that this is going to be a whole new thing? Is this offense, which has been so effective over the years when Lamar Jackson has been healthy, now they've got Beckham and they've got Zay Flowers and they've got the new offensive coordinator. You see his name down there, Todd Monken. Hear his name mentioned all the time. Is this going to look totally different?
Greeny, I don't think it looks totally different. And quite honestly, I think it would be stupid to make it look totally different. The thing that people are scared to death of is the way they run the football and the quarterback gives them an advantage to run the football and how dangerous he is as a runner. That being said, throwing the football more and developing a passing game that has been better than their passing game has been in the past is a good thing for Lamar and his career, and it's a good thing for the Ravens going forward. So, look, do we see more out of the passing game, especially with better players around Lamar? Sure, and that ultimately will be a good thing, but I don't think it's a total departure offensively from what we've seen from them.
What do you think, Di?
Lamar's ability to throw and be successful has always been predicated by the threat of the run game, right? The run game is the centerpiece of this offense. It's what he does best. Tim said his teams are scared to death, and he's not being dramatic. I've spoken to defensive coordinators who go up against Lamar Jackson every season, and they say the same thing, which is they do not want this guy to run. So, yeah, a balanced offense is going to be something that they're going to be shooting for. I don't see them changing this completely, but we see these weapons, and I actually think this bolsters the run game because the threat of the passing game now. We know that there's guys out there. We see Odell Beckham Jr. You can't leave that guy open. But again, once again, that gives them an opportunity to open up that run game.
No, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do, and then to the degree to which people are buying into it, because that is, in my opinion, the best division in football, with the Ravens, the Bengals, who have sort of controlled it the last couple of years. You never count out the Steelers, and then Cleveland, I think, is an enormous wild card. Let's stay in the division and talk about Joe Burrow, who was in camp yesterday. People were fascinated that he was there because he has not gotten his contract extension yet.
If you're a Bengals fan, how do you not love this guy? I mean, I can't think of a better way to explain what he's doing right now. Look, he knows he's getting paid.
Yeah.
He's not only going to get paid, he's going to get paid way more than Justin Herbert. Maybe not way more, but significantly more than Justin Herbert, who we just saw got signed up 2 days ago. I've been around Joe Burrow. I've talked to guys that play with Joe Burrow. He's all about football. This is all this guy, he loves it. Breathes, eats, sleeps. This is all he wants to do. This is why I'm picking the Cincinnati Bengals here to win this division. This is no disrespect to the Steelers and Mike Tomlin. This is no disrespect to Lamar Jackson and what Harbaugh's doing down there. I just think the consistency of this coaching staff and that commitment that you just heard is why I think the Bengals will continually see over and over again playing the AFC Championship.
If you had to bet that palatial estate of yours in Atlanta, Harry Douglas, on the Ravens or the Bengals, or I suppose you could go a different direction, that should say AFC North, of course, who would you take?
It's tough, Greeny, because the last 2 years, you look at last year, Lamar Jackson, when he was healthy, he led the AFC North and the Ravens. The year before, they were the #1 team in the AFC. But I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals because of that consistency in being able to be healthy. The Ravens have been one of the most banged-up teams the last 2 years, and I don't think the Cincinnati Bengals have been in that category. Also, you have Todd Monken coming in, so you have a new face. You have that consistency within the coaching staff as well with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tim? That's 2 votes for the Bengals over the Ravens and everybody else in what I, again, believe is the most competitive division in football. Which way do you go?
Cincinnati, because of what we just heard from one of the best, in some people's mind, the best quarterback in the game. Like, that's like the reality of it. When you listen to what he just said, it's perfect. It's perfect for the message to the team. Look, he knows he's getting paid. And especially with what just happened with Justin Herbert, like, he knows it's happening. Why is he going to sit there and worry about, and it sounds silly, but like a couple $1 million here, a couple $1 million there. Like, he's there to work. Like, he's there to make it happen. And he knows clearly, and maybe it's his experience between Ohio State and LSU and how those experiences went differently. I think he understands the value of your supporting cast, which is going to be tied to how much money he's making and how he's making it.
Absolutely. And so we can put my pick on the screen as well. And I just did not want the Bengals to be everywhere.
You don't want the orange?
For those of you who are pointing out that earlier this week I picked the Bengals, you're right.
Yeah.
And I think in my heart and soul, I think Cincinnati wins that division. But there was something about the idea of that screenshot coming back at the end of this year. If the Ravens were to win it, and all of us being made to look like the fool, that just didn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
So if you ask if that was a preemptive pick, you're darn right it was preemptive, and I make no apologies. In the meantime, did you see, Diana, you're going to love this. Did you see what Travis Kelce said yesterday? So on the podcast there, Travis Kelce and his brother was talking about shooting his shot with Taylor Swift. Listen to this.
You made her a bracelet?
Yeah. If you're up on Taylor Swift concerts, there are friendship bracelets, and I received a bunch of them being there, but I wanted to give Taylor Swift one with my number on it. Not right now.
Your number's in 87 or your phone number?
You know which one. She doesn't meet anybody, or at least she didn't want to meet me, so I took it personal.
Intercepted.
What do we think of that? Travis
Intercepted,
Kelce
turned
shooting
down.
his shot.
Shooting a shot. I mean, first of all, she better move on that swiftly, because I can tell you, being in Kansas City, the line of women that want to just wave to the man, nevertheless get his phone number. But I just keep thinking about
Is that a friendship bracelet?
It's essentially a friendship bracelet. It has my son's names on it. Do you see how small these beads are? You're telling me a man with those big hands was sitting at home just beating his phone number? This is where I think Donna Kelce came in. I bet you Mama Kelce had a hand in it. She's like, I got to get this man married.
Mama knows best,
Mama
Diana.
knows.
Mama knows best.
I will say this. I know a ridiculous amount about Taylor Swift's life. I believe she's now connected to the lead singer of the 1975.
They broke up already.
How could I be this behind on my Taylor Swift?
As I sip my tea,
Why am I
talk to him, Diana.